Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry for the delay. I had a connection issue. I hope it's fixed now. I'm actually on hotspot, so let me know if I get disconnected or anything. So let's start with discussed last week actually. So we did introduction to UI and UX and UX process. And UI design with Figma, that is the engineer. And last week we discussed about what is UI and UX job roles in the industry, essential skills and technical skills the UX designers should have, and how to improve. Think like a UX designer. And finally, what is UX portfolio and how to discuss UX process, part one. So next week we are going to discuss about UX process further. So this is a starting point for a UX process. And today the topics I'm going to cover are what is UX process and methods we use, how to apply the UX process practically, and then what is empathy and why is it so important in design thinking, user interviews and competitive analysis, creating personas, creating user flows. So all these are some parts of the UX process. So last week we discussed about how to create UX plan and uh, how different team members participate in this plan creating things like that. So today we are going to talk about all these in detail. So let's start. So what is your design process? How you start the design? So if I ask you this question, what is your design process? If you already doing some designs for websites or some of your friends or even in your office or even in freelancing project, so let me if client tell you that he want to develop a website or he want to develop a mobile application, what is your design process? How are you going to start off? What are the questions that you ask from the client? So if I ask the question from one of you, uh, Charuni, what is your normal process? Are you already doing UX designs? Hello. How about Achinta?
Yeah, actually, currently I'm doing some graphic designing things. So when
Yeah.
somebody teach me and ask me for a design to a logo, first I'm researching about his business or his field first.
Mm.
Then I'm asking about his requirements on this logo, whether to include any shapes or any typography, what are those things, and by asking those things, I'm finalizing a document called design brief. Like
Okay. Okay. So
after
you
I'm starting to
get a
design.
chance to study about target users as well, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Achinta. How about Nadika and Rifad? All right. I'm going to ask Nadisha as well. Are you doing any designs? Haven't started any designs yet. Okay. Uh, Veervardhana, what is your design process if you are doing designs already? And how about Fatima? All right. Now, I think most of you are not doing designs. That is why you don't have any idea. So, Achinta, thank you. What is your design process? How you start the design? So, when you get a requirement from a client, specifically in a design project, for example, let's say the client want you to design a website. So the goal of this website is to build an awareness about his brand and also get some leads. So he might be doing some advertising on Google or Facebook or anywhere. And when users click on those advertisements, they will visit the website, and there's a form in the website where users have to fill their personal information such as name, email address, contact information, and what is the purpose. Let's say the website is for a educational consultancy firm. The people want to go abroad, so they are giving us an opportunity to find universities and courses to match our skill set. So when you get the requirement from the client, you have to ask questions. So what are the who are your target users? So you get an idea about previous leads. So if it is already established business, you have data. Who went abroad most often? So what is the age range, the gender, uh, how they contacted most, the contact tunnel? Did they visited their office premises, or did they call them or email them? So those are the channels that you have to optimize most in the website. So after studying about your users initially, you will get a chance to visit their office premise and interview some users and maybe see them performing some actions. For example, let's say a student and his or her parents visited the educational consultancy firm, and then they ask for the personal information from that user and the educational qualifications and professional experience and working experience, and all these information we can give them a interface to fill out, so users don't have to visit the office premise and waste their time or things like that. So you can submit your documents and everything. So you can uh, see your users in action and like uh, tell your co-workers. For an example, in educational consultancy firm, you can ask consultants to ask certain questions, and you can take a note of those questions and put it in your system as well. So next time, users don't have to visit the office premise and do the actions very easily up until the time they get the visa process or transfer money and so on. So that is, we are finding a problem. So the problem is users have to spend time and visit office premises and fill the forms manually by handwritten notes. So there might be some errors as well when you are writing. So we are going to eliminate all those by developing this kind of a system. So that is the solution that we are giving to the problem the client and the users have. So after you interview your users and get to know your users well, at least up to 10 users, you have to interview and create personas. So the persona generation, I will talk about it later in this session. And then you have to do some competitor analysis. Who are the competitors in the domain? For an example, in education consultancy firms, who are the top firms that sending students abroad, and what are their reviews? What people like about them, what they don't like about them. You can refer to their Google pages and read the reviews and get an idea about what to put on your website and what to eliminate. So that is competitor analysis. And then after that, you have to come up with a UX plan, UX strategy. So we discussed last week that entire UX team, including the client as well as UX designer, UI designer, product owner, as well as if you are the one, if your company is developing the software, you have to involve developers as well. And in that way, everyone can be in the same page and everyone get to know about this is the client requirement and these are the target users and how we can build a successful product to achieve these targets. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Thank you. So as I said earlier, so these are the parts we cover. What is UX process and methods? How to apply UX process practically? And what is empathy and why is it so important in design thinking? user interviews and competitive analysis. I talked about it roughly just now. Creating personas, creating user flows. So I was asking, what is your design process? How you start the design? And I was describing about how to approach a new project when you get a requirement from a client. So I was talking about the competitor analysis. And then after the competitive analysis, you have to come up with a UX strategy. So in UX strategy, everyone should involve. And as most of the design teams follow agile methodology, so you have to participate with all your stakeholders. For an example, you have to communicate back and forth with your client as well, and even with the users. When you get the requirement properly, do the competitor analysis, and have a sound UX strategy, you can do your wireframes. So in the wireframes, you have to make sure that you include everything that you learn from your users, as well as the good things that you got from your competitor analysis, and eliminate the things that users don't like, that they mentioned in those reviews or interviews that you have with them. So after that, after having a good user wireframe, uh, so in the UX process, actually before the wireframe, I'm sorry, we have to create user personas. So let's say you are interviewing 10 different people. So these 10 different people might have 10 different backgrounds. Let's say one student is trying to go abroad just after his O levels. So for him, the courses that he need to follow will be different from someone else, and the funding and everything will be different. And there will be another student who already did his bachelor's in Sri Lanka or any other country and want to do MSc or PhD. So that person's requirement is different. So you have to create different personas. And also there might be a student who is looking for scholarships. He might be have good grades in his bachelor's degree, and he's looking for a scholarship. So that story or a persona is completely different. And also there might be some students who is trying to migrate with his family. So that is also a different scenario. So you have to create different personas for all these users and get to know these users really well. What is their end goal? How we can impress them by creating a website. So after doing that, we call this user personas, and we can create a user stories and scenario mapping. In that particular step, what we do is we read those users personas and create a story for them. For an example, let's say the person who is trying to find a PhD for in a university in some country, let's say Canada. So we have to create a storyline for him. For an example, let's say he has this kind of a background. He is looking for computer science degrees, and he has this much of work experience and so on. And by creating that kind of a user story, you can empathize with that particular user. So this is actually we are doing it for very limited amount of users, where we think that he represent most of the users that come to our website. So it will be really good if you can find 10 different people with 10 different backgrounds and 10 requirements. So it will help you to create a website that answers the questions of all of them uh, without, so if, let's say if you don't interview much people, you interview just one or two people, and they have a very basic uh, user flow. For an example, let's say they are trying to just find a course to go abroad and study, and they just completed their exams and want to go and study. So they have a very basic user flow. So if you just as if you want to find a funded PhD or a scholarship, you have to again do your design and user research. So you can avoid that by considering all these users in your user experience strategies. So even in the graphic design, as Achinta said, we have to get the requirement from the user. Actually, we don't know what he is requesting, what he is requirement is. So if let me know if it is okay now. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, now okay, sir. But in time you are getting breaking up. Your feed is getting breaking.
Okay, I'm really sorry about that. Let me know. Send me a message. I will keep my eye on the messages as well. Thank you. And even in the graphic designing, we have to get the requirement from the user. So let's say user come up with an idea and he want to design a leaflet to build an awareness among school leavers about the degree program that they're going to uh, conduct. So for an example, let's say the target audience will be school leavers, and we have to ask questions from the client that what are the courses that they offer, and how we can impress them, and what are the uh, points that we want to focus when we are doing the design. And even for that, you have to do some competitor analysis as well. You have to ask few questions from your users and also from the client that gave you the project, and get to know your users and the requirement of your client as well. So even for the very basic graphic design or leaflet design, print design, you have to get to know your users as well as your client's requirement in order to do a successful design. So here is the UX design process. A UX design process in an iterative step-by-step methodology UX teams use to complete projects. So as I mentioned in the first session, so it is not a linear process. We can just start a design and end it within a week by following a linear path. So we have to go back and forth and fine tune our designs in each and every step of this design. So this is the UX design process. It is an iterative process. The first step is empathize, and then we have to define, ideate, prototype, and test. So in empathize, as I said earlier, we have to empathize with our end users. So the way we empathize is we get to know about them, their interests, how are they going to perform inside our system, and what are the things that they require, and what are the things they expect. And so people come up with different expectations. They uh, will perform in different ways. So that is why we are creating different user stories and user personas, and streamline those user flows based on their requirement. And then after that, we come up with a define. So in the define, we empathize with users, we identify their requirement and their backgrounds and their end goals, as well as the roadblocks or the uh, obstacles they may face when they are following the process, and the good things about other competitors as well. So after that, we define those end user goals by using affinity mapping and also storyboards, as I mentioned. So we define and then we ideate. In the ideation, what we do is we do wireframes. So based on those all user stories and the requirement gathering meetings and also competitor analysis, we can create a visual representation of the product. Let's say again, I'm going to take the example educational consultancy firm. So we can ideate, we can create a landing page for them, for the users, by creating uh, a menu with a different destinations, or align like categorized with courses. For an example, let's say in the menu we have home, and then we have course categories in computing, medicine, science, physics, art, and so on. And then we have another menu item for different countries, Australia, England, Canada, and so on. So in the wireframe, we have to mention those in high level. It is not a very detailed representation, but you have to create all these content and the placement of these content in your wireframe. So after you create the wireframe, you have to go and prototype. So even in the ideation process, when you create the wireframe, it is a good practice to send it to your users and get their feedback as well. Even here in the empathize and define process, you can go back and forth. So it is not a linear process. You can go and test your idea, and then after empathizing, you can prototype, and then again you can empathize and get some requirement from your users and define user goals as well. So after ideation, after you fine tune your wireframe, so it might take some time because you have to get the feedback from your users and you have to get the feedback from your client as well. And finally, let's say you fine tune your wireframe and it is good to go. So the next stage is to prototype it. So in the prototype step, there are actually three different types of prototypes. We call them low fidelity prototype, mid fidelity, and finally high fidelity prototype. In low fidelity prototype, we are just converting these wireframes to some presentable graphics. For an example, let's say you did your wireframes using just pencil and paper. So you manually or you just sketched them in pencil and paper, and in the low fidelity prototyping, what you do is you convert them into digital form and you try to present them to your users or uh, client to get the approval from them to continue your designs. So in mid fidelity wireframe, you improve this design, but it is not very presentable and it won't have any colors or final typography, but it is somewhat in the middle of high and low fidelity wireframes. And in final step, we have to create high fidelity prototype. So that is the final design that we are going to give our developers to build the application. So in high fidelity prototype, what we do is we create a design system. We create different colors. So color scheme, color library, typography, and different buttons. All the elements should be there. So you create these. So if I give you an example, let's say this is one website we did recently. So for this website, once again, I'm sorry about my internet connection today. So in this website, as I mentioned earlier, we have categorized the website content based on universities, different countries and courses, and so on. So we have different categories and all the information layout uh, in the landing page. So users can scroll through and get an idea about what is it about and how they can contact them and get information about how to apply, and different universities, different countries and courses as well. And we have a contact form. So in order to create this kind of website, you have to interview the users as well as experienced staff members. So they know the process, how to apply for different users. So if you some student visit there, they know what is the best course that he can get a scholarship for, and so on. So it is a very good experience if you can get to know that, get a chance to interview those experienced people and gain knowledge before you do your process. So after that, when you prototype, you send that prototype to your users as well as the client to get the final feedback. So after getting the final feedback, if there's any changes, they suggest you have to again fine tune your design and make it presentable. And finally, when you got the approval from your client and if users like your product, you can hand it over to your development team. So let me show you one example. So let's say, okay. So in the example I'm going to show you, it is actually a mobile application where I get a requirement from a different user, and he wants to create a cryptocurrency platform where users can create tax reports based on their crypto activity. So if they in different countries, it is actually for an Australian client. So in Australia, if you invest money in crypto, you have to pay certain tax for the government as well. So right now, the process of creating this tax report is a manual one. So users have to go to a tax advisor and get give your portfolio details and do the calculation. So it is a very time consuming and very costly process uh, to follow. Actually, when creating this application, we have to interview different users and get to know their investment habits, and also we have to read about laws and regulations as well. So based on the project requirement, the requirement that the user interviews that you have to do, the questions you should ask from users will differentiate. So you have to make sure that you do the research quite well before you present your design to and give it to your developers to develop. And finally, after prototype, we are going to test. So after you do the final high fidelity prototype, the developers of your team, the front end developers, will implement this design in preferred language. For let's say it is based on React.js. So they are going to create different components that you already created in Figma design uh, by using by using React code. So in React, they also follow the same design methodology that if we follow atomic design principles in our Figma designs, React also support the same atomic design. So you can create different components, reusable components, and you can use them in your design as components, and you don't have to recreate. You can just do some basic changes to colors, and all this will be dynamic. So you don't have to hard code this code if you do a good design system in Figma and hand it over to your developers. And finally, after testing, and let's say we are launching that to the market. Let's say we are going live with the website we are already created. So after we going live, the UX designer's duty is not over. So you have to go and check if we really want to get to know the users, we can actually implement trackers like screen trackers and screen recorders. I mentioned last week there are two free and mostly used screen tracking software called Microsoft Clarity and Hotjar. So if you put that JavaScript code in your website header, they will record all the user interactions and user sessions and create video recordings as well as heat maps where it shows where most users click and who attention most attention was given to this part of the screen and so on. So it will help you to fine tune your design and change the placements if necessary. And after testing also, you have to again fine tune your design, and it is a iterative process. So you have to always come up with a good design and think about your users and get to know your users, learn about your users, and improve your design to match their requirement. So, do you have any questions up until now? All right, let's move on. So here's the process in another diagram. So number one is understanding the problem existence. So most of the time in the phase, we understand why we need to create the application. So let's say a client come up with a idea and you have to create that particular product. So the first thing you have to do is you have to understand the problem. If there's no any problem, for an example, you are just trying to create a product out of nothing, and there's no problem that you are going to solve. So you have first thing you have to do is you have to find out, is the problem existing? So is if there's a problem, how we can give a better solution. So if there's no problem, you don't have to create any application. You can tell your client, I don't think that this is not a good idea. So this some people might do the design just anyway, just to get the money and so on. But it is a good practice to tell your client, because he is investing money, and uh, you can tell them that if we do the requirement as you mentioned, it won't give you the return on investment. So you will lose your money. So uh, apart from doing that, we can do something like this, and you can suggest some different idea. And users, as a designer, it is a good practice to follow that kind of a approach as well. So after, let's say you designed an application for so long, for about 6 months, and find that no users will use this application because it has so many user flaws, as well as it is not a problem that already existing. So you get to know that you have to tell your client about that even from the beginning as well. Understanding the problem existed. Then we have the research phase. In the research phase, we conduct surveys, interviews, and find out competitor details. So in the research phase, what we have to do is we can conduct surveys. Surveys, we can create Google Forms, or we can send them questionnaires, printed questionnaires, where they can tick different answers. We can ask open-ended questions such as uh, why you are doing this, and what is your normal day-to-day behavior, what is your end goal by using this particular product, are you trying to go abroad, what is your education qualification. So you can ask those kind of questions. Have you tried any other competitors before? What is your experience with them? So those are the questions that you can ask your users. And then we have interviews. So you can interview different users uh, and get to know them as well. So let's say you visit that office premise where they have educational consultancy, and you can get to know by referring to those interviews with the student counselor as well as the student. You can see what are the questions they are asking, how the student is answering, and what is his background. So you can get to know the whole process about uh, the application that you are going to develop. So that is also a good practice to do user interviews and see them in action as well. Find out competitor details. So another next thing is find out about the competitors. So if you creating a similar application, you have to at least study about 3 to 4 competitors in same domain. So let's say in educational consultancy, you have different companies. There are so many companies in Sri Lanka that provide these consultancies for the student who try to go abroad and find a course. So you can search them. You can just Google search and read their reviews. And also, if you have any friends who already went abroad, you can ask them, what is the consultancy firm that you use? What is your experience? Are they good? Are they bad? What do you think that they can improve to provide a better service? So by having all these information in your document, you can generate a product that most of the users like. And then analyzing pace. In this space, we conduct analyze to raw information we have found by using competitor analysis, creating personas and customer journey maps. So in the analyzing phase, we have to consider all these things we learned prior to that. So in that phase, we have raw information. So we have to analyze them and create visualization, to get an idea. So for an example, let's say you have uh, quantitative data. For an example, let's say this is the time that users take to fill the form. This is the time that users spend on our website. This is the time that users spend on competitors' website. Uh, so all these quantitative data, you can analyze them and create a data visualizations where you can uh, get an idea at a glance. These are the people, let's say two genders. Uh, Girls are going abroad more when comparing to boys. And these are the courses that most of the people take. These are the top destinations most students like to go. And these are the top universities. These are the affordable universities and so on. So it will give you an idea about how to analyze your collected data. And even after that, you have to do competitor analysis. So if you get to know about your competitors, these are the number of students they are sending in monthly basis. These are the students they are sending to Australia and different countries and different categories or universities. So data is really important for you to create a good visualization and get to know your users as well as your competitors. And then we have to create personas. As I mentioned, we have to interview at least 5 to 10 different users with different backgrounds and different requirements. So after interviewing them, we have to create personas based on their requirement. Let's say we have a user named uh, Tom. So Tom is looking for a postgraduate opportunity in Canada. His background is computer software, computer science, and he's looking for this kind of a prestigious university. And he has funding as well. And he's not looking for a scholarship opportunity. He's going to fund his studies. So you can create a persona based on that person's story. And there will be another student who just finished his schools and he's looking for a scholarship opportunity. He don't have a good financial background, so therefore he's looking for a scholarship opportunity in Australia. So you can create a persona based on that user story as well. So you will get to know and empathize with your users uh, when in the first step. So that will help you to create a good design that help all the users, that include all the users who will use your system. And then we have wireframes and design. After analyzing, we start off with the wireframes. So in this space, we create user flows, high level and low level wireframes. So after creating user personas and journey maps and let's say storyboard boards and scenario mapping and everything, we can start off creating the wireframes. So all this data we gathered in our previous sessions, previous steps, we can use them to demonstrate all the ideas that users gave us to create our wireframes. So we create the wireframe uh, by first starting with the user flows. User flow is something like, let's say, uh, I'm going to a website. Let's say this website. So I load this website. I want to send a message to the company. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the contact. So the user flow's first step is I type this particular web address, and then the second step is I click on contact button. So it will take me to contact us page. And then I will select something here and I will type my name, and then I will type my email address and finally the message I want to send them and send the message. So each of these steps should be mentioned in our uh, user flow. So user flow, so that is the straightforward user flow. Some users might uh, follow different paths. Let's say they will click on this start a project button. So it will take them to different place. And some users will just go to contact page and they won't fill this form and they try to find a email address and just send us the email. So you always have to create different user flows based on the representation of data in your system. And Those are creating personas and customer journey maps, and finally user flows. And then we can create high level and low level wireframes. So after you create the user flows, you know the steps that users are going to follow in your system to achieve their end goal. So it will help you to create a low level wireframes. So in low level wireframe, we just take a pencil and paper and we sketch out uh, the areas of the website. Let's say we going to sketch out the navigation bar. These are the menu items: home, about us, services, contact. So those are the menu items that we are going to display in our page. And in the about the fold section, so about the fold section is this one. So the first section that users see when they open the website, we are going to display this kind of information. This is the call to action button that we are going to display, and these are the images that we should display in the website. So that information we are going to draw in our wireframe as well. So it don't have to be in detail, but just the visual representation and hierarchy should be there. And then we are going to create low fidelity wireframes. And finally, we create high level wireframes where we create the final product in a design aspect. So if you want to send it to your developers, you have to create the final design. Let's see if this is already loaded. Yes. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, this is an application we develop for crypto application based in Australia. So the purpose of this is to create crypto tax reports for the users who invest in different cryptocurrencies and NFTs and so on. So requirement gathering process was actually we have to interview different crypto investors and people with different backgrounds uh, to come up with this kind of a design and what are their requirements, and we have to do competitor analysis as well. So in here, I follow atomic design. So in atomic design, we just start off with the atoms, which are the basic components of the design, like icons and different colors and these crypto icons. So the basic elements. And in the molecules, we create different cards by using these uh, atoms or basic elements. So we create navigation by using icons and also backgrounds and also different credit cards or debit cards and these stickers and so on. And finally, by using all these, by using molecules and atoms, we create the final product. So this is the high fidelity prototype that we are going to present to our end users uh, and also get their feedback and also to our client. So after we get the feedback from our users as well as the client, we are going to develop it. So in Figma, it support development as well. So if you switch on the development mode, it will show all the details about this particular frame. So if I select this entry, it will give me this is the width, this is the height, and also all the assets it uh, consist of, and all the colors and so on. So you also can create a similar design system when you are creating a application. So you can see this is the main accent color and all the color libraries are there. And also if you go to assets, we have create different components, uh, local components as well. So users can, developers can get the code directly from those components. So here we have button component, we have uh, entry component, the chat bubble system. So we are going to talk about creating a design system later in the course. So I will describe you how to create a design system later in the course. So I will describe you how to create a component, how to create a entry, how to create a design system. Finally, we create high fidelity wireframes. So you have to understand the wireframe and the prototype are two different things. Wireframes are not that much of detailed representation of your developers to create the develop your application. And finally, the visualization with the feedback given from the users as well as the client. We have taken from the wireframes. The visual designs are again shown to the client to put them to test again and understand the applicability of the solution and then roll back to any stage or proceed to implementation. So as I mentioned, it is not a linear process. Even after we created the wireframe and final visual design, we send in them for feedback. So if we get a good feedback, we can move on and do the development. If we get a feedback with so many changes and even the users don't like it, we have to redo our process. We have to redo the research and define user goals and do the ideation prototype. And finally, again, we have to test our ideas. So now we are going to talk about these steps in detail. So let me know if you have any questions regarding the uh, UX design process up until now. All right. So what is empathize? Empathize is actually understanding your users. So in empathizing, the questions that we are going to ask ourselves is what problems the users have, what they need, what they expect from your application, what they think about your application, what are the problems in the existing apps. So these are the questions, the basic questions that you ask your users and to get to know them and uh, empathize with them before creating your application. So the processes we follow to empathize with our users and get to know them, the one is user interview. So in here, in the image, it shows that the user has presented to the software firm or a design firm, and we can ask questions face to face, different questions. We can show them different designs that we already did, wireframes. We can ask them to perform certain actions using wireframes. So we can make wireframes interactive as well. For an example, let's say we use uh, a half sheet and also we have sticky notes. So we use sticky notes to represent buttons and call to action buttons, and we can ask them to perform some actions by using that particular physical wireframe. So we can uh, see them, are they following the user flow that we thought that users will follow, or is there any roadblocks that we should avoid in our design. So user interview, the face-to-face interview is a really good method if you want to empathize with your users. So even if you do questionnaires or even if you do video call, there might be some issues with the users. Users might not tell you exactly how they feel about your product or the experience that you have. But if you invite them to your office premises or if you go and interview them, they will tell a different story uh, in comparison to the questionnaire they fill or an online interview. So these are the interview questions that you can ask. Let's say we are going to create a bicycle riding app. So these are the interview questions we should ask our users uh, who present at our office. So why do you ride a bicycle? So the first thing we have to understand is the purpose of the using of the product. So why do you ride a bicycle? The next one, what do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? So for the first questions, users might answer, let's say one user might answer, why do you ride a bicycle? Let's say he's into fitness and he want to burn some calories, or he's an eco-friendly person. He want to reduce his carbon footprint. And let's say another person is he don't have a car, so that is why he's riding a bicycle. And then number two, what do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? So we are going to develop a bicycle tracking app. So for the users, for three different users I mentioned, if we ask the same question, what do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? They will give different question. The first user might say that he want to see how many calories he burned, how many what is it heartbeat rate, and so on. And the second person, he might say how many uh, like how much he contribute to the environment by reducing his carbon footprint daily. And the third user might say, let's say he's worry about the money, and he might say how much money I saved on fuel, or how much money I saved on public transport, taking public transport, and so on. So that those are three different purposes, three different users might using your bicycle tracking app. Do you use any other bicycle tracking application? If it is, what are they? So you can ask the competitor, ask about competitors from your users as well. So if it is a good experience or a bad experience, or even if they are using this kind of a particular application, they will answer. Let's say they will answer, and first user might say they are using some kind of application. And then you can ask different questions. What are the things that you like about that application? What are the problems in that application? What features you need to have in your application? So let's say one application first user is using it. It is a good application, but it shows so many advertisements. So that is something that user don't like. And another user might say it don't show that it don't have a good visual representation. It don't have a good dashboard. You have to search for some data if you want to know really quickly. And another user might say, this application have so many features that I don't even use. So you have to make sure to interview these users and understand the different problems they are facing based on their scenarios. What are the problems in that app? So that is the question number 4. Number 5, what features you need to have in your app? So after the fourth question, you can ask the what are the features that they think that should be in the applications we are developing. So users will tell that if they feel that they require something, let's say they need good visual representation and good visualization of their data, how many calories they burn, and how many steps, how many kilometers they have to ride to burn certain amount of calories, and uh, how much money they save in a monthly basis. If they can budget and uh, do the bicycle, use the bicycle tracking application to match their use case, particular use case of the user. What features you need to have in your application. And let's say one user suggests that he want to implement map features to the application where we give him navigation about the places that he already visited, or if he want to go again, the places that he want to go. Let's say another user is just riding a bicycle to show up, to put post on social media that he's a good person, or build an awareness among other people. And another person is a good person. He is trying to give an idea, get an idea, get a message to the social that riding bicycles is beneficial to users' health, and also it will help environment as well. So those are different kind of users that can use your application. So the first question, why do you ride a bicycle? So users might answer, I want to look fit and healthy. And another user might say, I want to keep track of the places I traverse and improve on the time I spent on cycling. Another user might say, I want to feel motivated while cycling. And the fourth user, I like to share my interest in cycling with my friends and encourage them to take part while having friendly competitions with fellow cyclists. So that is a new feature this user is mentioning. Uh, he want app to accommodate creating friendly competitions and invite different users, invite different fellow cyclists to those competitions. And then this user, I want to be updated with today's trends and wear decent outfits. So if you can uh, present in a different page about design, like trends about today's outfits and uh, fashion, about bicycles, this user might be interested about that. I used to travel short distances. So this user is taking short distances. So he's taking bicycle because of that. What do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? So the second questions we are asking. Discover the best cycling routes. So some users, uh, as a hobby, they ride bicycles. So they try to find best cycling routes to match their expectations. Save and share your favorites. So they can save and share favorites with fellow cyclists. So they can also follow the same paths and then get inspired to reach new cycling goals. And this user is have a different requirement and he is trying to get inspired to reach new cycling goals. So your application should have an option to set goals as well. So that is a new feature. Track your fitness with Trip cycling activity tracker. So if your application has a cycling activity tracker, let's say you have a wearable Apple iWatch or a Fitbit or any other smartwatch where you can get data about your heartbeat, how many calories you burn and everything. And we can feed this data to our application and we can show them how many calories they burn, how many trips that they have to take to burn certain amount of calories and so on. And then one user might say he want to record routes. Map your favorite bike trial or run and analyze your training with all the stats. So if the application can create a weekly, monthly report about the performance of the particular user, this user will use the application. What do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? So number three, do you use any other bicycle tracking app? If it is yes, what are they? So users will answer with different kind of bicycle tracking application. This user is calling cycling bicycle tracker, Strava, and different applications are there. And they will also tell what are the problems they are facing in those applications. So they have issues with tracking. So users expect it to perform as they like when you are downloading an application, you have a certain expectation. This application should perform certain way. If it is not giving you what you expect, users will get disappointed. So they will put bad reviews, they will uninstall that application and look for some other solution. So these are the issues users face. Issues with tracking, OS compatibility. OS compatibility is not a much of an issue right now because the major two OSs are iOS and Apple, iOS and Android. So uh, if you are using applications such as React Native or native application development, you can always create a application. But uh, let's say your application is launched only on iOS. So people who are using Android phones won't be able to use your application even if they like to use it. So make sure when launching an application, you address all these users. Basically, those two platforms, iOS and Android. Too much facts. So if you have present your users with too many facts, too many news, too many options, too many data to visualize, it will negatively affect your application. Let's say in a bicycle riding application, uh, you are not personalizing the data based on the user's requirement. Let's say when signing up to your bicycle riding application, what you can do is you can ask certain questions from the user. Same questions that you mentioned here. Why do you ride a bicycle? And you can give few options to look fit and healthy, to track, to feel motivated, to share among friends, and different options you can give. And you can ask all these questions to get to know your users and then personalize their dashboard based on the input they already given you. So let's say one user selects that he want to burn calories and he want to visualize the number of calories he burn in daily basis. So if you present them with a news articles, if you present him with a uh, fashion or outfits that trending in the market, he won't be interested about that. So you have to make sure you present the user with what he is expecting. Rapid application development. So it is actually not a problem that users face, but the developers. So if you, let's say, you have an uh, again bicycle riding app, and you are trying to develop the application, and you want to check your idea. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to put some product to the market. So that product, we call it minimum viable product, MVP. So in minimum viable product, what you can do is you can uh, create an application with basic features that you think users might use. So in rapid application development, what we do is we create this minimum viable product and launch it to market and see what are the feedback that we are getting from users. So based on those feedbacks, we are doing improvements, we are adding new features and moving forward. So let's say we are not following rapid application development, and we are trying to develop an application from the beginning, and we are trying to implement all features that users suggest. So it will take some time, like time consuming, and it will take a lot of money as well, and also effort from the designers and developers as well. And when we launch to market, there's another application that users like, and we don't have any chance to beat that application in the competition. And if you take so much of time in developing your application and fine-tuning your application without checking your idea, it will negatively affect your product and the whole team's process. That is why rapid application development is so important. If you have an idea, you have to implement it and test with users before you try to build the complete application. Trouble placing a challenge. So another one user mentioned that he want to place challenges with his co-riders. So if your application doesn't support that, this user face the problem of trouble placing a challenge. Number 5, what features you need to have in your application. So by asking the problems they are facing, we can get a good idea about what they suggest to have in the application. Number 1 is discover the best cycling routes. I'm sorry. Save and share your favorites. Get inspired to reach new cycling goals. Track your fitness with Trip Cycling Activity Tracker. Record routes. Map your favorite bike trial or run. Analyze your training with all the stats. Track how much you save your money and fuel by using a bicycle. Buy bicycle parts. Use for a short distance travels. Keep a to-do list and reminders. So this user require all-in-one application. So he want to have a to-do list and reminders in the application as well. So let's say uh, he we already have different applications to do that, but in this user's case, let's say he's riding bicycle from point A to point B. So when he reach, he have different points in between these as well, let's say X, Y, Z. So if he reach point X, we should send him a message. You have to buy this from this particular grocery store. And if you reach the point Y, you have to do something else, and so on. So we have to track this user's activity and give him push notifications or messages based on the place he is traveling. So that is the another requirement from a different user. Okay, that is about interview questions and how to empathize with different users who you think will use your app in the future. The next thing is competitive analysis. Do you have any questions? All right, competitive analysis. So as I mentioned, when we are developing an application or doing a design, it is a good practice to learn about competitors as well. So when we are launching a product, let's say we are launching a mobile application to the market. Let's say we are launching a ride sharing app. So if you don't study about your competitors, let's say you are trying to launch a similar application to Pick Me and Uber. So if you don't study about your competitors, you don't know what users like about this application, what users don't like, what are the features that we can put in our application that these applications don't have, what are the features that these applications have that users like, and we can use them in our applications as well. So those are the basic things that you can learn from competitor analysis. What to eliminate that users don't like, and what to uh, keep that users already like and like to use in those applications. So what is competitive analysis? One of the critical steps when developing a new product is finding out where you stand with the competition. So point number one is, even if it is a digital or a physical product, if you don't know where you stand in the competition, it will be an issue. So let's say you don't have an idea about where you stand, and you think you come into the hypothesis, or you have in your mind that your application is the best application. You don't even think about other competitors. So that is not the right way to go. You always have to make sure you do your homework, you do your competitor analysis and come up with a better strategy for your application when competing with these other competitors of your application. Competitive analysis is a necessary part of a design process to help businesses gain valuable insight into the market. So if you do competitor analysis, you will get an idea about what other competitors do, how they perform in different markets, how they perform in, let's say, in ride sharing app, how they perform in different areas of the country, how they perform in different times of the day. What is the surge time? What are the problems users and drivers are facing? How we can answer those questions by creating our application. So these are really important if you do competitor analysis. Identify the strengths and weaknesses of their products. So let's say in ride sharing application, uh, in city areas like in Colombo metropolitan area, during rush hours, people won't be able to get a rider or driver by using this kind of application. So how you can solve that problem? Do you have any answer to that problem? So, there might be some issues, like let's say you don't like the UI, specifically if the application provides so many options. Let's say Pick Me application, it provide rides, it provide marketplace and everything in one application. Whereas in Uber, it has Uber Eats implemented in that application, but it has less features. So basically, we can use Uber more freely, and it is more user friendly when comparing to Pick Me, because Pick Me has so many options. Right now, they are promoting different promotions and everything. So users will get distracted when using that kind of application when comparing to something with very uh, streamlined user flow and user experience. And develop effective product strategies to create winning result. So if you get to know all the strengths and weaknesses uh, about these competitors by referring to their Google Play Store reviews or Apple App Store reviews, or even by interviewing them, or even by using the application yourselves, you get to know about the problems that you are facing and the users are facing. And by eliminating them and by creating a good user experience, you can create winning results for your application as well. Why conduct competitive analysis in UX design? So by conducting user experience analysis, the competitor analysis, you can assess where your product or design stands in the market. So it will give you an idea about where you stand. So if you know where your application is standing when you're launching your application, it is a good point to start. So you can tell that in order to go past this particular competitor, we have to perform this much. We have to increase our leads by this much, this percentage. We have to invest this much of money. What are the areas that we should advertise? What are the points that we should focus when we are advertising? So these are really good if you assess uh, your competitors as well. Define any gaps in the market. So let's say even in the ride sharing, you don't have a particular feature. Let's say in Uber or any other application, let's say Lyft or any other application that have uh, in abroad specifically, they have ride pools. So one, you can invite your friends to get into your car in certain place. So that car has to stop that place first. So if users recommending that kind of a feature in your application, you can implement it and see. So most of the application in Sri Lanka that they don't support because most of the users don't use that feature. But if users, more of the users suggest those kind of a feature, for an example, you can implement it and see how it goes in the application as a beta release. Know the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. So by doing a competitor analysis, you get to know about the weaknesses as well as strengths of your users. So by knowing that, you can gain an advantage by implementing the things people like and eliminating the things people don't like. Identify the advantages and disadvantages of your products. So after doing a competitor analysis, you can compare your application with all these other applications as well. So you can compare and understand what are the advantages our application have, what are the disadvantages we will face when we are launching to the market, how we can find a solution if users don't like this particular feature, how we can implement a feature that users uh, like demand to have in our application, how easily, how fast we can implement it. So these are the questions that you can identify by considering advantages and disadvantages of your product. Have evidence to back up your design changes. So as a designer, if you do competitor analysis, when your design team or a client or a users ask different questions, specifically the team or a uh, client, you can tell them this application also have this particular feature. This application also have search bar on top of the map, and the map is the first thing that they show. So you can rationalize your design changes, design ideas, because users already use this particular application. They get used to this particular user flow, and they are expecting your application to behave in the same way. So you have evidence to back up. If you have screenshots, if you have written notes about this particular application, this is the search bar. Let's say you are implementing a search bar in your application and you have written a note that this Uber application have a search bar in this particular place, and even Pick Me or Grab or any other application have this search bar in this place. And I'm also going to implement it in the same place because users get used to it already and they don't want to learn something new by using our application. So you have a backup in your design and rationalize your design as well. So this is the it helps you solve use competitor analysis and you're trying to implement a solution for ride sharing yourselves without following any of the designs for motivation or the inspiration or anything. In that case, if there's a search bar somewhere else or a map icon somewhere else, and you have a different dashboard for the users, so you don't know how users perform actions until it is implemented in your application. in your UX design process or UX get to know about the actual users, how users perform in different scenarios. Let's say your application, uh, let's say a user is trying to find a vehicle, you want to quickly go to the hospital or somewhere. So if your application is not performing the way he is expecting, he will get disappointed and he won't even use your application anymore. So you have to make sure you follow the user cues and the same user patterns, user flows that they already learned from other applications, and make it a easy experience to learn from your users as well. All right. Steps to do a UX competitive analysis. So we talked about the importance of UX competitive analysis and what is competitive analysis. And now we're going to talk about what are the steps we need to follow to do a competitive analysis. Number one is outline your goals and define your product. So in order to do a good competitive analysis, you have to understand what is the category of your product, who will be your target users, outline and then find out who are your main competitors in the market, in the local market or the international market. You have to find out. So outline your goals and define your product. It is the first one. Compile a list of your direct and indirect competition. So compile a list of your direct and indirect competition. So if you are creating a ride sharing app, your direct competition in Sri Lanka will be Pick Me and Uber. Indirect competition can be any taxi service or any tuk driver. So these are indirect competition. So how we can perform better and how we can do like give a better service to our users when comparing to these direct or indirect competition is the thing that you have to keep in your mind. Create a comparison chart of the competitors' product features. So then we have to create a comparison chart. So you have to create different criterias, how user-friendly this competitor application is. And you have to put a tick or a cross. And or even you can scale it 0 to 10. And how user-friendly, as I mentioned, how fast is it performing? How easy is it to get a taxi from this particular application? How many minutes we have to wait to get a acceptance from a rider or a driver. So you can create a comparison chart based on these competitors' product features. And also, what are the features these applications have? Do they support card payments? Do they support real-time tracking? Do they support food delivery or things like that? So you can analyze those in a comparison chart and compare different features different competitors have. Identify the differences between products. And then you can, after you compare them, you can identify differences between the products you have considered already. So for an example, let's say uh, if you compare the applications I mentioned, the PickMe and Uber, you can clearly see that in PickMe there are so many options. They have marketplace, they have rides, they have lorries, they have bikes and everything. Whereas in Uber, they only have limited categories like bikes or uh, trucks and even cars. And they only have Uber Eats in a lightweight edition in the main application. Uh, so we can compare those differences between the products. It can be a physical product as well. So let's say you have a physical product. You are going to buy a car. So your budget is this much, and what you can do is you can select two different cars that come under your budget and the cars you like, and you can compare what is the fuel consumption, what are the spare parts will cost, how is the uh, mileage that if you are buying a used car, what is the mileage, how many users used it, and so on. You can compare and find the differences and select what uh, best fit for you. Summarize and present your findings. And finally, as a UX designer, what you have to do is, even if you do a competitor analysis, the team or the product owner or a client don't know how did you even you did it really well. So the summarization and the present you're finding is really important. You can create a data visualization or a presentation to give your ideas and present them to your users or stakeholders of your application. So they will get to know that you have studied the product thoroughly and you have a good idea before you start designing your application, which will help you in the whole process. And when you communicate with your seniors or co-designers, you can always refer to these reports and tell them that you already find this by competitor analysis, and you can present it to them as well. So you have a reason behind everything that you do in your design thinking process. So next thing we are going to talk about creating personas. So as I mentioned earlier, so let's say we are again creating an application for the ride sharing. So you have to understand different people. You have to interview different people and create personas for them. So let's say we have 5 different people as we have in the images here. So the first user will say will have a different background and he have a different use case. In a ride sharing app, let's say he want to take a car to go to work. And second user, uh, uh, let's say he want to he's late to work and he's trying to go to work faster because he has a meeting. And the third user, he prefer to use public transport, but on that particular day, he missed his bus and he's trying to use the ride sharing app to get to the office. And the fourth user, uh, let's say he's trying to test ride sharing applications. He's a designer like us and he never experienced this particular application and he's trying to test the experience for his studies. And also the final user, let's say it is uh, a preschool student, a preschool kid who's trying to take the ride sharing car with his parents or someone. So those 5 users have 5 different backgrounds. So you have to make sure you cover and include all these users in your designs and even when you are doing your personas. So what is a user persona? User personas are archetypical users whose goals and characteristics represent the needs of a larger group of users. So as we like, let's say you can't interview all of the users who are using your application. So what we are going to do is we are taking quite a few and we think that we can using these 10 people, we can cover all the people that we use our application. It is an assumption. So more users you interview, the more personas you create, the better your application help these different users. So larger group of users. Usually a persona is presented in a 1 or 2 page document. So if I show you a persona, let's see my internet connection allow me to do so. Okay, let's take this for an example. Okay, in persona creation, even in Figma, we can create a persona by creating a frame, or even in a Figma Jam, we can do the same. So Figma Jam board also supports the same. So let's go to the persona I already opened. So we can first do a background check about that particular user. We give him a name and a profession and write a quick introduction about them, description, and the age, the occupation, location, and income. Those are the information that we need. So it is actually based on the application that we are designing. Let's say we are designing a banking application. We might put different details, how much they earn in monthly basis, what is their salary, and so on. So in here we have those information as well. And we put a quick biography about this particular user and their needs as well. So for this particular user to find the right website which offers and facilitates what she wants, to find a way to fund her artworks without incurring lots of debit. So she's an artist, so she want to she need these two from the website that we are creating. The three most popular categories of homewares. Artworks. So these are some different data visualized. And pain points this user is facing. Concern that she will need to manage mailing artwork and won't be able to afford the website fees. Worried that she is one of many artists and won't get enough exposure. Don't want the service to take too high percentage of her sales. So he's trying to she's trying to find a platform where she can sell their artwork, and these are the pain points that she's facing right now. She's concerned about mailing and whole process. When she gets an order, she has to pack it and then take it to the delivery and then send it and pay the delivery fees and everything. He's worried about that. Worried about she's one of many artists and won't get enough exposure. She's worried about she won't be able to reach enough end users or customers. And then doesn't want the service to take high percentage of her sales. So most of these platforms, even in freelancing platforms, they are taking some percentage as commission. So she don't want the particular platform to take that much of money from her as a commission. So in ideal experience, she mentioned mail her pieces internationally and ensure they arrive safely. So pain points, the answers to pain points are mentioned here. And manage her inventory easily for her from her iPhone. So she needs an inventory management platform as well. Make great money to sustain her passion making art. So she want to make money and keep creating art without worrying about how much she earns. So these are some quotes that she made during the interview. It is important that I can connect with the buyers. So let's say we have a platform and we have brokers as well. So if you don't get a chance to contact with your buyers, uh, the brokers or the people created the platform will get more money than the actual creator. So she needs to connect with the buyers and get paid more and contact with them and get their reviews about their design. So that is what she quoted. I really just need an easy way to promote my art and keep prospective buyers up to date. So by contacting with these buyers, she has a platform that she can connect back and forth about her new designs. If the people who already bought her designs, if they like the design, they can again buy it from her without worrying about paying the platform fees or commissions to any other person. The hardest part is managing the actual transaction. So if we can implement a good payment gateway or a transaction process where she can quickly get her money without giving much commission for the platform, she will like the platform that we are developing. So that is the persona. Those are the things that we had in our personas as well. Okay, why are user personas important? So by creating a user persona and adding an image and having a story about particular user and having a name, you can build empathy about that particular user. So in here we have Mari. So when we in the team meeting, when we discuss about different users who use this application, if the designer have personas, if the designer has 5 personas and pasted them in the whiteboard or anywhere, if you mention the name Mari and uh, in a design decision, you let's say you say that Mari will like this feature and Tom will like this feature. Everyone in the team know who you are talking about, who Mari is, what is her expectation, what is her background. So everyone in the team are on same page, which will give you like it will ease the process as well. So even the designers and developers and every team member, the product owner, the client, and everyone know uh, this user represent this kind of a background. His or her requirements are this. If we want to achieve success in this product, we have to uh, give this user a good attention as well. Provide direction for making design decisions. As I mentioned, so when making design decision, we have to consider all these personas as well, different people. Will they like? Will Tom like our design? Will Tom like this feature? Will Mari find it difficult to uh, find a customer or things like that? We have to ask those questions in our design decision making process. Communicate research findings. So after you do the research when creating persona, you can like let's say you interview 10 people, so there are no way that you let's say you record all these 10 interviews as a voice records, and you have an idea about those users. So in your team there are some other team members as well, product owner, product designer. There are some co-designers who haven't participated in these interviews, and if you tell them that I have the recording, if you want you can listen to the recording and know about the users, they won't have time to listen to your recording. And also uh, if you create a persona based on the extract of that particular conversation, it will really help them to know about the users in really short time period. So we can communicate research findings by creating personas as well. So creating a persona, we have a persona name. So as I mentioned in this photo, we have a persona name and the occupation. Photo, demographics, gender, age, location, uh, family, goals and needs, pain points, bits of personality, quote or slogan that captures the personality. So these are the slogans and quotes that catches her personality and her needs, uh, short bio, pain points, ideal experiences, the sales if she already have any sales. So those are the things that we include in our user persona. And the next thing we are going to talk about is creating user flows. So before that, I'm going to take a 15-minute break. So we'll get back at 11:05. Welcome back. Flows. So what a user goes through when using your product from the start point to a final interaction. So for an example, I mentioned in the website I shared you earlier in Google Chrome or browser, and then they click on any message. So that is the final interaction of that particular user if they want to send a message to the company. So that is the user flow. So why user flow is important? It is an easy and fast way to visualize the process. So by creating a user flow like this, so let's say this is the user flow. So it is not a complete user flow, but we have the diagram. You can follow the lines and find out what is the user flow is. So you can clearly see that after signing in, we have different options: Facebook, Google, email, and if it is a successful sign in, we then send them to a portfolio. Otherwise, they have again go back to the sign in, sign up screen, and they have to sign in again by using email, Google or Facebook or any other supporting platform. Allows to better learn your audience. So by having this kind of a diagram, this user flow, easily learn about your users as well. So you know that these are the paths these users will take. So having it in your mind and trying to describe it to some other user is really hard because you won't be able to do it properly. So have this user flow in paper. So everyone who is viewing this particular user flow will understand these are the steps, these are the options that these users have, and this is the path that he or she took, and this is where he is currently, and this is the final step of this particular process. So it is easier for them to understand. Helps to eliminate malfunction. So when we create this kind of a user flow, so if you go from step one to step like step one to end step, you can easily follow this line and try to empathize with the users and try to act as a user and try to find out if there's any malfunctions, if there's any errors in the user flow as well. And finally, the better communication. So as I mentioned, if you try to describe it in your word, it will very misleading. So you won't be able to do so. But if you have this diagram in place, it will be easier for everyone to communicate back and forth and follow the same design and follow the same user flow and understand different users very easily. So that is about user experience, UX design process part one. Do you have any, if you have any questions about one of these, UX process and methods, how to apply the process practically, what is empathy and why is it so important, user interviews and competitive analysis we discussed, creating personas, user flows, you can ask now. Okay, Achinta is all good. How about Charuni? Fatima? All right, cool. Now let's take this one, UX process part 2. So today we discussed about these, so I'm not going to go through them again as topics. So these are the things that we are going to discuss now. Number one is color psychology and color theory, then typography, style guide, UX laws, and finally creating wireframes. So this is our second week actually. In the third week, so next week I'm going to give you the capstone project that you have to do uh, in this particular short course. Actually, the project for the previous badges, I gave it in the fourth week and we discussed in fifth week. But in order to give you 2 weeks time to do your project, I'm going to give it next week and you can complete it within 2 weeks. So in the fifth week, we are going to discuss and review your designs and give you feedback as well. So if you have any questions, you can ask during the session and that will be our final session. So next week, we are going to give you the assignment. I will put it in Google Classroom as well. So I put some material in Google Classroom. If you follow, there were some guidelines and blog articles, and also I uploaded the video and also the lecture slides as well. So if you miss something, you can go there and follow up. And if you want to learn further, there are some book suggestions as well. I invite you to get those books. Even there are free PDFs you can download. So you can follow them up and learn something about what you are doing in the future. So number one book I suggested you is this one. Let me show you the cover. Sorry about the internet connection. The Design of Everyday Things. It is actually by Don Norman. Don Norman is recognized as the father of UX design. He's the one who come up with the design for the early Macintosh computer, the typeface, the UI, and everything. So Design of Everyday Things is a must if you want to become a UX designer. So you can download free PDF as well. So you can see the Internet Archive has it, and you can buy it in local bookstores as well. Okay, color psychology and color theory, typography, style guide, UX laws, and creating wireframes. The first one is, what is color psychology? It is a branch of psychology studying the influence of colors on human mood and behavior. The thing is that our mind reacts to color while we are usually do not notice it. The moment our eyes perceive color, they connect with the brain, which gives signals to the endocrine system, releasing hormones responsible for the shifts in moods and emotions. So as you know that different colors represent different human emotions. So I think I discussed in the first week as well. We are so bind with different colors, such as let's say green color, it represents success. So in the UI also websites, they're using green color to show you success messages. Even in the road, the traffic light, if you want to, if they allow you to go, it shows in green color. And then a red color represent with danger or stop. So even in the website, even in digital world, we take red color to notice some dangerous action to the user. For an example, let's say if they want to delete their account on Facebook or any other platform, the button or a text we are showing them is in red color. So that shows them that they are doing something dangerous. So they won't be able to do uh, uh, undo that action they are going to perform right now. So likewise, those different colors, blue color, green color, all the colors accompanying with different human emotions. So that will, you have to, as a UX designer, you should have an idea about different colors and what are the emotions they are representing and how we can use these colors to give better user experience to our users as well. So as I mentioned, the stop sign everywhere, even not even in Sri Lanka. So if we, it is a universal color that represents a danger. Even the hospital, it has this sign and it has a line like color coding to show the paths as well. The red color accompanied with hospital or emergency as well. So meaning of colors. To convey the right tone, message and call users to make the expected actions, designers need to understand what colors mean and what reaction they evoke. So if you want to convey a right message in right tone, let's say uh, you want to, as I mentioned earlier, if users trying to delete their action, profile or delete a photo, you have to show them that this action is not undoable, and therefore you have to show them it in a red color. So designer needs to understand what colors mean and what reaction they evoke. So if you put this red color in a successful message or anything, so people who already interacted and used internet, they will get confused. So this website has different color coding. So they uh, will get confused and they don't trust your website, trust your brand. So you have to make sure you follow those guidelines already existing in the web platform as well. So we are talking about main colors, the red color. The color usually associates with passionate, strong, or aggressive feeling. So these are the feelings that it represents. It symbolizes both good and bad states of mind and soul, including love, confidence, passion, and anger. In design, the use of red color is an effective way to draw users' attention. So if you have red color button in your screen, so right now, if you are using Zoom as well, in order to stop share or end the call, they are showing it in a red color button. So you know that if you click on that action, it will perform some dangerous or cautious action that you have to follow. But if you do a payment, let's say you buy something online and try to do a payment and add your card details and do the payment. If the payment is successful, they will show the message in green color with a green color tick. So you know that your payment is successful and you can move forward, and it build the trustworthiness between you and the company as well, because you got what you expected. So just in case if your card is declined by the bank, or if you don't have that particular amount in your card, it will show you the message, the card declined, a payment unsuccessful, and the message will be shown in a red color. So it will avoid the negative reactions as well. Also, it's recommended to use red sparingly to avoid negative reactions. Let's say you are using red color in your design and typography and everywhere. So it is not really good user experience for the user, because red is a contrasting color. And if you want users to read your design elements and glance at and get an idea, avoid using red color much. So you have to use it sparingly with different colors such as white or black or any other lighter shade. It will give users much ease to their eye, and also it will increase the readability as well. So in here, this design, this application, it uses red color as the background. So in the, we call this part the onboarding process. So in the application's onboarding process, we show this notification message, what we can do by using this particular application. So they're using red as a background color and contrasting graphic to show what it can do. And there's a text message as well, description, where you can see what it is about, the application, what it can do. And even here, in order to sign up to this particular platform, where you have to type your email address. If you type a wrong email address without a domain or without an @ sign, it will show you a message. Please enter a valid email address in red color accent. And also in some other places, let's say if you enter a wrong password, or if you enter a wrong input, what the input that system don't expect, it will prompt a message in red color saying that you have to correct your input, and that is the way that you can move forward. And here we discussed it uh, represent passionate, strong, and aggressive feeling as well. So if you double tap a picture on LinkedIn, it will give you a red color heart. So that is also a different use case in red color. And even in the e-commerce, if you add this kind of a device to your cart, and if you want to remove something from your cart, it will give you a red color cross icon. So you know that you are performing some action. You have to perform with the caution. So you make sure that you read it and remove whatever uh, already added in your cart. And here, as I mentioned, it is a potentially dangerous action to close your account. You won't be able to undo this. You won't be able to get to your account again if you type your password and click on the close account button in Facebook or any other platform. Some of the accounts supports you to get back within a certain time frame if you type the same username and password, but it has to do with a caution. And we talked about red color, now orange color. It is an energetic and warm color, bringing the feeling of excitement. Orange combines red's power and yellow's friendliness. So it may bring feeling of motivation, enthusiasm, and love to life. Designers use the color if they need to give the spirit of creativity and adventure. So the orange color. So in this design here, the creative it represents the creativity and adventure. So people who like metal or different bands, they will come to this website and they try to read it. The accent color they are using is orange color, which represent adventure and creativity. And yellow color, this is the color of happiness, which symbolizes the sunlight, joy, and warmth. Yellow is thought to be the easiest color to visibly see. What's more, it has one of the most powerful psychological meanings. Users seeing yellow colors in design can feel inspiration and confidence. Although you need to remember that too much yellow may bring negative reactions, such as the feeling of anxiety or fear. So, uh, even from the like since we born, we have a good connection with the color yellow because the sun's color is yellow. Most of the light we come across is yellow, so it sympathizes the happiness and the warmth. So if we use yellow color in our design, we are going to uh, demonstrate inspiration and confidence among our users. But you have to make sure you don't use yellow color that much because it can lead to negative effects such as feeling of anxiety or fear as well. So every color, even red color, orange color, and even yellow, you have to use it with a caution, and there's a certain percentage that you can use it in your design. So if you are using yellow color with white color, it won't have much contrast. But if you are using yellow with black or any contrasting color, it will have a good contrast and it will highlight your designs that you want to show customers, get customers' attention more. So in here we have the main text in yellow color. So it give you a bold feeling, and also it has this accent color for a text box in yellow color as well. So we talked about red, orange and yellow. Now it's green color. It is often called color of nature, balance and harmony. Green brings of growth and inexperience. It has more positive energy than most other colors, but sometimes it associates with materialism. Design in green colors perfectly suits the products connected with nature, calming and renewing feelings. Also, it is a sign. So as it mentioned, it accompanying with nature, calming and renewing feeling. So most of the websites like want to show the message that their product is eco-friendly, or they want to show a positive energy. They can use the green color, and it is also a sign which represent the success or something good happen. So that is the green colors representation in a website or a digital media or a physical product. In here, we have a website about the nature. So we are using a background in green color and text in white to make a contrast, and also call to action button in a red color to make contrast and get users' attention to that particular part as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, success state in any website that you come across, have a green color accent to it. So it represent success. And even the submit buttons, it depending on the UI you are using, but most of the time, in order to display a success message or a submit or a successful action, we use green color as the main color. And again here, in order to show users that this is the good deal, this is the ideal place that they have good advantage in these others in different colors as well. So the users know that they feel comfortable in this particular place and they will use this particular deal and make green color accent to show their call to action buttons. While red means stop, green means go. That's why green can use to encourage users to participate in. So if you use if you're using Slack is actually a communication tool, do inbound communication within the team. Is it clear now? I'm sorry. Is it still breaking up? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. I'm really sorry about that. I'm traveling today. That is why my internet connection is not stable. So it won't happen again. For example, Stripe prompts users to sign up with a green button. So if in Slack, the highlighted buttons, the notifications and everything has a green accent, whereas the background can be different color you can choose. And even here, when comparing to the uh, article on left hand side with green accent and the right hand side with a red accent, most of the users, if we do a user research and A/B testing is something that when you launch your product, you have two different designs. So you can push these two designs and show them to different users. So 50% of users see your design in green color and 50% of your users see your design in red color. So we measure how users perform actions based on this design. So if most users click the button which is in green color or different button placement, we continue with that particular design and eliminate the red color one. So that is A/B testing in design. So in here, if we do an A/B testing, we will get to know that most of the users prefer this green color one because users won't feel that comfortable by clicking on Get Started Now button in red color when comparing to one in green. Okay, now blue color. It often represents some corporate images since blue is the color of trust. It usually shows reliability, may give users calming feelings. However, as a cool color, it also associates with distance and sadness. So designers need to keep it in balance. So if you're using applications such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and there are so many other applications that their main color is blue color. So they're trying to build a trust. So most of the banks, even in Sri Lanka, the commercial HNB, or if you take any other banks worldwide, they're using blue color as their accent color, even in their branding or in their application. So the main idea about that is they want to build a trust among their users with the brand. So it usually shows reliability. So you can rely on this particular platform. So users can trust this platform. That is the message they are trying to give. But different shades of blue color represent some other emotions as well, like sadness. And so designers have to keep it in balance and make sure they are conveying right message to their users. So in here we have blue color background and white color text. So you can clearly see that the text is very readable, and also it gives get users attention. It gave a bold feeling and also trustworthy feeling when you see the blue color. And next, purple color. Okay, purple long associated with royalty and wealth since many kings wore purple clothes. It's useful for presenting some luxurious products. It is also a color of mystery and magic. So if you search for colors with purple, like brands with purple color, you get to know that most of the colors that try to give a message, the luxurious product. Even in Sri Lanka, there are some brands that follow the same color. Uh, so they want to give a same kind of a feeling for their users as well. So it is also representing mystery and magic, where you can use based on your users' requirement and the product that you are designing for your users. It mixes the energy of red and blue. So it has balance of power and stability. A big concentration of the color may distract users' mind. So if you want to give a message to your users uh, about power and stability. So for an example, in Sri Lanka, if we take a brand such as Softlogic Life, it uses this color. And in England, Royal, some insurance company. So most of the insurance companies, some of these are using this particular color. So they want to show the stability among their users. So it represents that kind of a feeling. So a big concentration of color may distract users' mind. So as you can see here, so it has a purple color accent and blue color accent and some other shades of that particular color, and it using really nicely without using much of the purple color, and it is not distracting users much. And next we are going to discuss about pink color. It is a color of hope, sensitivity, and romance. Pink is much softer than red, so it creates a sense of unconditional love. Pink is associated very strongly with youthful femininity. So as you know that most of the girls, even from their childhood, they prefer pink color. So that is the reason it uh, strongly associated with youthful femininity. It may be the effective color if the target audience is mostly girls and young women. So if your target audience are mostly female, I have seen this in applications such as the pregnancy tracker applications, and also there are some banking applications specifically dedicated to women. They are using this particular color shade, like pink color. And in here, we have the same color, which is a gift shop, and actually they are using pink color accent uh, because their target audience might be females. And brown color, the color of security and protection like the Mother Earth. Designers commonly use brown as a background color in a variety of shades, from the very light to deep. It brings the feeling of warmth and comfort to the designs. Also, it may be used to show experience and reassurance. So if you are using brown color, it is an earth color, like green, like yellow. It is a earth color. So you are used to that color for generations. So designers commonly use brown as a background color in a variety of shades, from variety of light, from very light to deep. So you can use different shades to uh, give different messages to users. So warmth and comfort is the messages that users will get, and uh, it will also show experience and reassurance. So gold shops, when you try to buy some expensive items, when you try to do some expensive investment, like try to buy a house or anything, or some investment, it will have this kind of a layout with a brown color background, the brown color shades. So it will give you experience and reassurance about the action that you are going to take. Okay, now we have black color. The color has a great number of meanings. It associates with tragic situation and death. It signifies a mystery. It can be traditional, modern, serious. Everything depends on how you employ it and which colors go with it. Black matches well with any other color, so it is ideal for a background. Designers often use it to set contrast. So as you can see that even this design in web design, they are using black color as the background color. So it will give this things in foreground the prominent look. And also it has a modern look when implementing in applications. So if you take most recent websites like website or mobile applications or anything, they have implemented a new feature called dark mode. So dark mode also a really good example of this black color. So it is the eye movements, and it will give users more screen time, and it reduces the battery usage as well because it don't have to light up much of the pixels in the screen. So that is why most of the applications we are using has dark effect, dark mode implemented. So if you know that the application that came up only with dark color background is Spotify. So Spotify was very popular, is very popular right now, but when it comes to the market, the Apple Music was the dominating music streaming application. But when Shopify came to the market, most of the users liked it because of its UI. It has a black color UI and green color accent, and most of the users like that. And also it provides a good service where you can stream music freely even if you don't subscribe to their service with some limitations. So black color uh, shows the mystery and traditional and modern look for your designs. So as a designers, when you are designing a new design system or anything, it is a good practice like to follow both these colors. So how we can do it in Figma, I can show it to you in a very basic example. Let's say we have a phone here. So phone, I'm going to select this. So this is the main design. I'm going to tell this is a light design for my interface. And I have text inside it. I'm going to give it a different color. This color. And border radius as well of 50. So this is the wrapper. So if I copy some text, let's copy this part from here. And paste it here. Layout. I will describe to you how to do this later. So right now I'm going to put this here and change the color of this to say this shade. And I'm going to create a button as well. So let's say read more. Put it inside a frame. And give it a different color. Let's say this color. And give it auto layout as well. Oh, now I'm going to copy this. Okay, let's say I have this kind of a layout. I'm going to copy another one. All right. So this is the design I have. I'm going to hide this. And this is the light version of our design. So if you want to create the dark version of the same thing, what you can do is, so you can select this and make it a component. So I'm going to create dark version here. So background color, I'm going to give this color, and the text color would be white. So this is the dark version. So what you can do is you can select both of these and create component set and make, let's name it as sticker. So in sticker we have two versions, like two variables, number one, number two. So how you can switch on the dark mode is, let's say I'm going to give, okay, now property one, it says frame 16 and frame 18. I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to say type frame 1, frame 2. And then in order to make it dark mode and light mode, what I can do is I can go to sticker again and create a variant and put dark mode, and value is false for default. And for this one, dark mode is true. So if you put an asset, let's say I already created an asset and I named it as sticker. So if I search for that asset here, sticker, it will show up, and I'm going to use it here, and it has this toggle icon. I can go back and forth with the dark and light mode. So that is how we do the light and dark mode designs in Figma. So I will describe it to you in more detail later on. Right now, just to demonstrate to you how to follow and do the dark and light mode in Figma. So the white color, so that is black color, and now we have white color. The color means purity and innocence, as well as wholeness and clarity. White often associates with a blank sheet of paper, motivating people to generate new ideas. However, too much white can cause feelings of isolation and emptiness. So for an example, let's say if you go to website like Figma, application like Figma. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to create an artboard. So the artboard we are creating, it has background color of white. Even if you are using Photoshop, even if you are using Illustrator, you can create an artboard using even if you use Illustrator. If you do not specifically, normally when even from our childhoods, we used to write on white color paper. So it gives us more freedom and creativity when you are using blank white color paper, purity and innocence. White associates with a blank sheet of paper, motivating people to generate new ideas. So you are free to generate something new, generate new ideas. So you are independent and design when you have that kind of a white color background, because you are blue color or any other color, the colors that you can use or the graphics that you can do are limited. So it will give you total freedom to do your designs if you have a white color background. So even when you are designing a website or a mobile application for both dark and light versions, it is always a good practice to do the design first in lighter version. So it will give you more freedom to do your design. So after you create the light version, it is easy for you to create the dark version by using the method I just show you earlier. So this one. Okay, however, too much white can cause feelings of isolation and emptiness. So in website or a mobile application UX design, there's a principle called if you want to increase the readability, if you have more readable content, if you have more text content on your website, you have to maintain certain ratio in your white space and paragraphs as well. So let's say I have even here I have a good readability because I have so much of white space in the background. So if I add an image here, if I add another point here, it will decrease the readability when comparing to this one. So, but you have to make sure you are using the white color in a right portion as well. In design, white is commonly used as a background color, especially for the resources for which readability is a vital part. So as I mentioned, if you want your users to read your content in your website, the white is the best background color you should have because we are so used to it because we even when we read a book physically, we used to have white color background and black color text. So same thing applies in digital design as well. Even here, as you I think you have already seen the websites such as New York Times or even BBC or anything, they are using white color background and black color text in order for users to increase their readability and allow them to read easily without any issue. But with the dark color mode, they have a dark color background as well and foreground color as white. So this website uses a white color background and black color as their main color. So they don't use any other colors. So it is actually a good readable website. It can be a publication or something related to uh, print industry or magazine or a news agency. They can use this kind of a layout. All right, those are the main colors that we were discussed and color meanings in branding. Colors are a vital factor for not only the visual appearance of products but also brand recognition. So the colors, if you select a color, let's say if you take red color, certain brands comes to mind. It can be Coca-Cola, it can be a fast food chain restaurant such as KFC and so on. If you take yellow color, you get to know that the McDonald's or any other uh, brand that follows the yellow color. So different brands has different colors already um, attached to it. So it is good to brand recognition as well. In branding, colors tend to have more direct meaning than in common understanding. They can be briefly described within a few words. So here is the list for you. Okay, these are the colors and they are the message that the designer trying to give by using that particular color. Red color, confidence, youth, and power. Whereas orange, friendly, warm, and energetic feeling. Yellow, happiness, optimism, and warmth. Green, peace, growth, and health. Blue, trust, security, as well as stability. Purple, luxurious, creative, and wise. Black, reliable, sophisticated, and experienced. White, simple, calm, and clean. So I'm not going to go to those colors and representation in detail because we already described it earlier. And then color preferences. Okay, blue is the top color. If you consider both men and women of all ages, think of blue as their favorite color. So if you give them some options like what is your favorite color, and if you ask 100 of them, most of them tell that their favorite color is blue. Brown and orange are in dislike. The first one considered less favorable among men and the second among women. So the blue is the top color for both female and male, and whereas brown is less favorable among men and orange is less favorable among women. This is some research statistics I got from uh, internet. And cool colors are preferred. Men and women favor blue, green, and their tints in general. Women like tints. when men prefer pure or shaded colors, ladies are good with the tints, lighter value than the hue of that color. So that is the difference. Men prefer achromatic colors. White, black, and gray are natural colors, and men are keen to choose them. So in the graph also, so blue color is preferred by both genders, whereas uh, brown is the least color that men prefer. And also in here, you can see purple is preferred by 23% of women and red is 9% and different colors as well. White is 1%, whereas the white is 2% of men. So when you are selecting a color for your design, these are some points you should consider. Number one is color psychology is rather complex to understand and learn. However, it may become an efficient tool in designers' hands, helping to understand the users and their demands. So next time when you are designing something, you have to think about what is the color I should choose. What is the main accent color? What are the color combinations that matches this particular end users? How we can give them a message that we want to give them by using this particular color or design elements. So you have to consider these things when you are choosing colors next time. Choose colors wisely. They have a deep influence on the users. Let's say, for an example, you select a color that you are designing application for small kids to do their homework or do some quizzes or anything, and it has to be colorful. Otherwise, they will get bored about it. So, in contrast, if you are designing an application for office people, for uh, professionals who are using banking applications, if you use multiple colors like red, orange, pink, and so different colors, it will disappoint them because they are trying to do some transaction, some professional work there. So you have to make sure you give them some professional colors and give them the right message for the right user. Choose colors wisely. Make sure your designs and its colors convey the right message and tune. So even if you select blue color for your designs, blue color also have different shades. So if you select very dark blue, it has a different meaning. If you have LinkedIn like blue shade, it has a different meaning. Facebook, more playful color. So you have to make sure you applies the color in right tune to convey the right message to your users. Learn your target audience. The color preferences and meanings depend on many factors, including age, gender, and culture. So you have to make sure you learn your target audience as well. So if you take some countries, there are some countries they think one color is really auspicious when comparing to others. If you use that color in your application, it will negatively affect your strategy and your product as well. So you have to always make sure your product fit culturally and gender and for the ages as well. So if you are using multiple colors like lime green or any color for the older generations, they don't feel that much of comfortable. One thing, they won't be able to see that color properly. The only thing they will see is brown or any lesser shade because they have visual impairments, most of us in older days. So you have to make sure you have a good idea about your target users, their culture, their age, their gender as well. Some colors may look different on the screens of different devices. Additional testing never hurts. So if you take one color, let's say red color, red color, it is, if you are using it in a Apple computer or any other iOS device, it can have a different representation of colors to our eyes. Even if you take earlier version of Apple or iOS products, it has a different color profile. It has different RGB levels. And if you use that same color in Windows laptops or HP, any other Asus or anything, it has a different RGB levels optimized for that particular screen. So it can be LCD or any other screen. So you have to make sure you test all these colors, test the color that you are using in all different devices. So you don't have to buy the devices, or you don't have to send the link to your friends to see that in your color. There are online tools that you can see how your color will show up in different color profiles and in different screens. So you can use that to check your color and make sure it is visibly like it's performing well in different devices with different color profiles as well. It may be a good idea to test the UI colors with representatives of the target audience. So also, if you trying to launch an application using this particular colors, after you do your high fidelity prototype, where I have all the colors and typography and everything, it is a good practice to test these colors with your users. Are they seeing what you are seeing? Are they seeing the same accent? Do we have to increase or decrease the shade? So you have to consider those before you are launching it to the market as well. Try to make the color combinations wisely in the best way for the user's perception. So if you are trying to make different color combinations, let's say in your website, you are trying to combine two different colors. Your main color, accent color means that the color that you are using for your buttons, call to action text, and also highlighted text, you are using blue color. And your background color is white. So that is a good combination. And if you are using a very lighter shade of blue as your button color, and you are using same white color as your background color, it is not contrasting. So users find it hard to click on certain parts of your website or read certain things in your website. So you have to choose and combine colors wisely as well. It is based on the user's requirement and your application's requirement. If you want to increase readability, you have to give them very contrasting colors that can be readable. And also, if you want to get their attention to certain button in your screen, you have to make sure that has a contrasting color when comparing to all other areas of that particular screen. So best way for the user's perception. So we have a thing called color theory. So is it clear up until now? What is the time? It's 12. Any questions? Achint is saying all good. How about others? All right, cool. Okay, next week we are going to talk about color theory, and I'm going to introduce you to this color wheel as well, where we have different colors and how to combine different colors in your layouts. These are some standard color schemes. And the difference between RGB and CMYK, I think you already know RGB is the color scheme that we use in digital design, whereas CMYK is the color we use in print media. So you have to make sure if your design is, you want to print it and you are designing it in a digital device, make sure you change the profile to CMYK and do the check your design as well. So we go to different color shades in detail. Gradients. Okay. All right. So that is okay, next week we are going to finish that part, and also we are going to discuss about our assignment, and also we will have some time to do some Figma practices as well. So last week I created an artboards for everyone. So if you already done some design during your free time, please share it. Have any questions regarding today's sessions or last session or even anything in design, you can send a message on WhatsApp group chat so I can answer. So All right. Can you hear me now? I'm really sorry.
Yeah, now okay.
Okay. Okay, what I was telling is that I'm going to end the session for today. So next week we are going to discuss about the assignment, and also we are going to do some Figma practicals where we create reusable components and so on. And then we're going to complete the UX process, this slide, and do some Figma practicals as well. So that is it for today. If you have any questions, you can send a message on WhatsApp as well, so I can answer in group chat. So have a nice day then. Bye-bye.
Okay, so thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.